As the kids head back to school, backpacks will be filled with notebooks and pencils and pens and, in a lot of cases, a cell phone.
Yeah, that could be changing, though, as Boston 25 News anchor Vanessa Welch explains. A growing number of schools are banning cell phones this year.
It's a controversial step when cell phones are banned in schools. Some administrators say they've tried other disciplinary measures and they just don't work. Others counter the students deserve to be treated like adults.
So these are small lockers that cell phones are placed in if students aren't meeting our expectations.
At Milford High School, the rules are pretty simple.
When class is in session, it's our expectation that your phones are away and that you're not using your phones.
When a student breaks that rule, the phone is immediately locked up.
And their guardian would have to come and pick it up either later that day or the next day. And secondly, that they would have to report to Saturday school as a punitive consequence.
For some technology-addicted teens, being unconnected is not only unthinkable, it's undoable. Principal Josh Otland says teachers were spending too much time in class policing phones, and the educational consequences were real.
There's some common sense appeal to saying that less time on these devices is probably going to be better for most adolescents, and we owe it to our students to make school something of a sanctuary.
Schools across the state are adopting tougher rules, including outright bans. We asked students at a Hyde Park skate park about this trend.
I do see many students using their phones during class, which can definitely be a problem.
I don't see it as realistic. They're just going to use it anyways. I think that you shouldn't take it away, especially because if there's an emergency and people need to communicate with like their parents or something.
I think it's pretty dumb.
I think shock. The first reaction was definitely shock.
Fear of a student uprising isn't stopping the Buxton School in the Berkshires from banning cell phones from their entire campus this fall. That includes adults, too. Going phone-free has been on the table for a few years. Director Franny Shuker-Haynes thinks social media is just so overwhelming today, and everyone will benefit from a break from it.
So we really have, for a long time, felt that smartphones were, corrosive, that even 5 years ago, our students were not as, and our adults were not as dependent on these devices. We're not using them in the same way.
Otland thinks Milford High School will benefit from a zero-tolerance policy in class while allowing students to use phones at lunch and in the hallways. But he understands why some districts think today's circumstances call for a clean sweep.
I wouldn't say that it's too severe. It would be my preference to avoid going to a total ban, if possible, but I wouldn't take it off the table. So I want to try to treat our students in the manner that I would like to be treated if I was in their shoes.
A cell phone ban was too much for at least one student at the Buxton School. She won't be returning. Administrators there say it's important to note that students will still have access to laptops and tablets. They're just losing connectivity they can carry in their back pocket. Vanessa Welch, Boston 25 News.